Hi everyone, welcome to the PrepZone Podcast. I'm your host, Estevao, Divino, and I'm delighted to have you with me, the manager of Staples Baseball, Jack McFarland. Coach, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for being here. Before we get going, I want to talk a little bit about your career. Coach McFarland has been the Staples coach since 2005.
Yep.
19th year. That's a long tenure.
Yeah, 18th season because we had the COVID year.
Oh, that's right.
In
so
2020, which was very sad, but
yeah. So you've won 4 FCAC championships, 2 state titles.
Yep.
In 2009, you were the FCAC Baseball Coach of the Year.
Yep.
2011, you won a coaching award from the Westport Sportsman. Then 2019, you were the FCAC Coach of the Year, Spring Coach of the Year, and Coach of the Year for all the sports.
Yeah.
You were also the assistant football coach for a while there, for 22 years actually, 95 2017, right?
Yes.
What did you coach when you did football?
I coached the Staples. I coached the D-backs and the receivers at Staples.
Oh, very cool. All right, so you're part of that program as well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then you were also, 2004, you were CHSCA Assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
You reside in Monroe with your wife, Norma, and your 4 daughters.
Yes.
How old are your daughters now?
I've got twins that are 27. I've got a 22-year-old senior at UB who's their center fielder. So, it's hard to see her play all the time, but I try to find ways to see how she's doing. And I have a senior at Massac who's getting ready to go to college next year.
Very, very cool.
So, yeah, all girls, by the way.
All girls,
so
right? Yeah, it's a house full of girls. So you got 5 women you live with. I'm sure there's a lot of fighting for the bathrooms.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Coach, I want to kick off a little bit about talking about last year. So you had a great season. You were 12-3 in the FCAC, 16-4 overall.
Yep.
Ended with an unfortunate loss at the state final, but extremely successful season. Talk about what went on last year and how you feel it. After everything has settled, everything went through it. So how do you evaluate last season?
It was a special year for us. We were actually 13-0 at home, so we really created a home field advantage for ourselves at Staples Field. Of course, we had Hero on his run, and we had 30 scouts at every game. So every game was an event. Kids in school would be like, "Is Hero pitching today?" I say, "Yeah, he's going to pitch." So come on out. So we had huge crowds. It was really a fun year. Anytime you get to a state final, it's hard. But in the last 8 seasons, we've been to 4. So we have a lot of success in the state tournament and the FCAC tournament as well. Staples Baseball has more FCAC championships than any other school in the FCAC. We have 8, so that's something we pride ourselves on.
Yeah, I looked at that. It's like, I'm not going to say all the titles because there's a lot of them in the FCAC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
baseball's hard. Everybody's got a baseball team. And, it's not a fringe sport or it depends on, what kind of town you're in. It's baseball. It's the national pastime. So it's, everybody's got a pitcher. Everybody's got players. So it's fun. The competition is great.
And by saying that, I think you're probably the most scrutinized coach in school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you think about it's a national pastime, right? I think it's baseball and football, right?
Exactly.
I mean, everybody is
same with basketball. With some of the other sports you go to, like, you might not know the rules or,
exactly.
they're kind of new to the CIAC or whatever,
But baseball, it's a tough job. Now, you've coached a lot of major league talent.
Yes.
So when you look at that, any difference in coaching? Like, I'm sure there's a difference, but how do you handle having kids that, like Hero you talked about last year? You had Chad Knight a few years ago.
Yes.
Kids who are going to play Division I.
We've got Ben Kasparius, who's in AA right now. We feel like he's going to get called up this year. He's
great.
He's that high on the Dodger list. So to answer your question, it's a big responsibility when you have a kid at that level because the training routine and the overuse, all that stuff. You want to deliver a kid to the Major League Draft, to the MLB Combine, to Duke, to wherever, healthy and ready to go. And there's always that coach saying, "Hey, can Hero get the last 6 outs, or can we throw Chad even though he threw it?" And it's like, no, it's not worth it. You have we got to look at the big picture. Baseball is all how you're playing in the middle of May and June. Okay, we've won the state championship at 13-7 in the league. We've won it at like 17-3. So you can have a gaudy record, but you get in those tournaments, you get hot at the right time in baseball, you can go on a big run. Yeah. And that's the thing you always have to look at, especially with those kind of kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good, right? Because you're always going to have so many options
Yes.
and kids that going to play in the program, and it speaks volume about with the program too, because they want to play, right? Nowadays,
Definitely.
kids can play anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they choose to continue. So coming off that year, what are your expectations, and what's the team looking like this year?
We really like what we're seeing so far. The real good teams are coach driven. Great teams are player driven. And what do I mean by player driven? Well, who's organizing the workouts, the winter workouts, the weightlifting, and so far the kids have been working really hard, and the senior leadership's been tremendous. So, we really have high hopes for what's going to happen this year.
Who are your captains this year?
We have Max Johnson, Jack Farnan, Nick Porzio, and Luke Oakley, our center fielder. So we have 4 good captains, and we have some other great seniors too that are going to help us lead.
How's your pitching looking at this year?
Pitching, I mean, it might be the most pitching we've had. We're going to have unreal depth. We've got Kaini coming back, who's a lefty, he's a Duke commit, throwing the ball really hard. We have Nick Porzio, a senior, who had a lot of saves last year, came in some big spots. We have a kid like Mason Tobias, who we think is going to be one of the better pitchers in the league. Big right-hander, throws hard, nice curveball. We have this Oppenheimer, we have Syed, we have Kukier, we have a lot of kids who can throw. So you're gonna see a lot of guys, especially early in the year, because early in the year when it's cold, you have to split things up and keep an eye on the pitch counts. So
yeah, and it's always harder to hit when it's cold, right?
Oh yeah, Nobody wants to be in that box in late March, early April.
No, I mean, I think, when I participated, I'll share you one story that was so funny when you were talking Hero. 7th grade, I was coaching Little League Baseball, and we were facing this team, and we get there, and the game didn't start, and I'm like, I run over to the umpire, and Kiro's dad's sitting right there, and I'm like, guys, what's going on? He goes, well, nobody wants to catch him. It's so cold, they're going to hurt him, you're going to get hurt.
Funny story about that. When Hero came over his junior year from the King School, my biggest concern was his ball was moving so much. The catchers weren't. It took the catchers a while to get acclimated, and by the time he was a senior, they were ready for him.
So as you're, the baseball program, and I know that a lot of stuff happens in the off season, tryouts, you get kids. Does the Little League? And I read about you do a lot of work trying to get the kids to stay in the program early.
Yes.
Right, so the Little League team has had some success, especially the Chad Nye generation, really well. So how do you guys incorporate that, the young ages, like the Little Leagues, into the high school program? What's that working like?
Well, we do a Little League Day, which we'll have a Little League Day this year on, I think it's April 6th. We do clinics. We send our kids over there to help their teams. Mm-hmm. Kids have choices now. Not everybody's playing CIAC, baseball or going to the town. A lot of kids are PGing, they want to get an extra year, they're leaving. So we've been able to flip the script in the state a little bit by getting, like Kaini was at Loomis and getting him back to Staples. Hero was a hometown kid, but he was at the King School. We got him back. And the way to get him back is run a successful program. Yeah. These kids are not going to come back if it's not a real program. We've had Gatorade Players of the Year, we're playing for state championships, so we're really a mature program. And if you want to really, play against the highest level and get to where you want to get, we don't think there's anything better than CIAC baseball and Staples baseball.
Listen, I agree. I mean, a testament to, what we just witnessed in the football. That final was something so excited to be a part of. Yeah. Now, one thing that's interesting, you mentioned that, and I've seen that you've done this. You've won while rebuilding.
Yes.
What is the key to doing that? I know there's not one magic thing, but how do you evaluate it year by year? How do you rebuild and you win at the same time?
I think high school, the key is to keeping their program on top. Is once you've won, a lot of teams can win in 1 year. If you coach 30 years, you might have one good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you can do it every year, after a while, the kids on the other team is like, oh, here comes Staples. You know what I mean? Maybe they grab the bat a little tighter, they want to win a little more, or maybe they just don't throw their number one because they think they can win the other 2 games that week. So, it's important to try to stay on top. And, we do that by just, hiring the best coaches, stay on top of the techniques, bringing some of our alumni back to talk to the kids. And, we don't think there's a better experience a high school age kid can have than playing Staples baseball and being in the CIAC.
No, I agree. I think represent your school, especially I think you guys' success, the football team success, the basketball success, it has brought this Staples pride, I think, back to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the games are like packed.
Yeah.
Students are going. It's right. I mean, it's got to be fun as a coach to do that, right?
I've had Major League Scouts were telling me last year that this is our favorite place to come. You set us up. You let us go wherever we want. And, some coaches would be like, oh, these guys are a distraction. Put them in the outfield. We do the total lot. We bring it. Like, it's just not Hero playing in front of scouts. Everybody is now.
Yeah, everybody gets a win.
It's a huge opportunity. And maybe they see somebody else. You know what I mean? Maybe they see somebody on another team. So, it's fun.
Yeah, and it's, as being, media press, it's like, I love that because I think all the coaches at Staples, do such a good job of embracing that.
Yeah.
And it's part, and I think you touched on it. You're looking at the kids first, not yourself first. And that's a big part of it, right? Huge.
I'm in the kid business. So when kids are smiling, we're happy. You can never let your ego go in the way. We're just, I'm just, a part of the program. This is my time now to shepherd the program to make sure it's well. And somebody else, Staples baseball will always be there. So the key is when you do leave, you want to leave it at very high. To be honest, when I got there in 2007, the field had one dugout. There was nowhere to sit. We redid the field in 2008. We did a little more this year to add a little press row. So we're always adding to create a field where I can have a real practice, the best facilities, and the other teams get off the bus. South Windsor got off the bus last year. They looked at our place, and I think the game was over before the first pitch. They were like, these guys, this is going to be a tough out.
It is, yeah.
So it's intimidating, and that's the way we want it,
And that to me, it's like, I totally agree. It's like, I think that whole row there, and not to veer away, but like when the soccer team stopped playing at the Hill, it's like, to me, it's like, man, that he was so intimidating, right? Players are down there, the crowd's up there, it feels so big. And I think that's what you have going with the baseball team. And it's, you walk in, there's like there's
we have the balcony there with all the signs, and it's unbelievable.
It's a history. It's really cool. And as talking about last year, what was your favorite moment of last year? Was there like a game or it doesn't have to be a game, or like a practice or something that was like your favorite thing last year?
My favorite thing last year was opening day, because Hero came to us his junior year and he struggled a little bit because the whole atmosphere, it was different. It was a different kind of baseball than he was playing over there at King. Crowds weren't as big. No, there wasn't a lot of chirping. So his junior year he comes in and there were high expectations, and he played well. He hit grand slams and threw some good games. But it took him a year to just get acclimated to FCX baseball, what it's really like. I mean, he's not, there's kids going to lose. There's kids all over the county going, getting drafted, stuff like that. So the first game against Greenwich, when he went down there, and I think he struck out 15 and hit a home run, I'm like, okay, good, we got it. Okay.
We're back.
He's gonna be untouchable all year. So that's that was my only nervous part, and it was a big relief when I saw the way he came out and the way we took care of business against Greenwich. So
I think like when the baseball team, football, basketball are winning, it's fun because the town gets behind it in a way that the sport doesn't.
Listen, you're watching the Major League Draft and you see third round. You see Oregon State, this kid, Miami, this kid, University of North Carolina. Then you see Staples High School, Westport, Connecticut. It's unbelievable. It's great.
It was really great.
That was one of my highlights too of the year. That was tremendous.
Right, it had to be. I think we're all like, I remember I was at home and then my son came running, third round. It was really. Again, it's like, and it becomes a whole thing for the whole town. It's a pride for everyone.
Huge. He's a hometown boy. I mean, it's at a private school. It's different. You don't have that.
No.
You're just playing for yourself and trying to get somewhere. But when you're playing for your town, listen, Chad, Hero, Ben, all these kids, they can go play somewhere else. That town, these schools would let them come for free. But if you're playing for a private school out of town, the rivalries aren't there, the pride of the town. Walking in the store, these guys are celebrities. It's great.
100%. And it's like, how many movies have we seen, right, about the guy like that comes back and there's like something like the big. It used to be the big water jug, right? It's like the water. So, but it's so much fun. Now this year, who is going to be your main competition? Who are the teams that you think are looking strong? They're going to give you a run for your money.
Yeah, I think Ward will be good again. Trumbull, St. Joe's. And we put together an unbelievable schedule. We play a 15-team league schedule, and then we play 5 out-of-league games. Now, some teams will take those 5 out-of-league games and try to get as many wins as they can. we're opening at Ward, which will be must-see TV, game 1. So you're ending the season with a 10-inning thriller, and now we're going there. We have Amity in that first week, which is a perennial power. We have Norwalk and Greenwich, so we're not ducking anybody. We want to play the best. That's how we got to the program. Yeah. That's how we got it to where we were. When I first took over, I said, we got to scrimmage Amity every year. The kids have to see where they have to get. And now that they're there, now we're at a different level where they're not intimidated when they play Amity or Ward. They're just going to play.
Right, and that's how you win. I mean, I look at what happened last night. The wrestling team, the senior night, they brought in an undefeated team.
Yeah.
Right? Usually, let's give these guys a layup. Yeah. No, let's bring in the best. Exactly. Let's have them play the best.
Look at the basketball team played St. Bernard. That's money in the bank, win or lose. Yep. I mean, it's just, now you got them on film, and now, you know what you expect. Even if they beat you, now we got to bring up our level. Here's what we got to do. So
yeah. No, it's so much fun. I mean, I'm looking so much forward to the season. Now, you talked about the depth, everything you got. How is your hitting? How is your offense looking at this year?
You know what? I think we're going to be a little more athletic than last year. We're going to be a little faster. Mm-hmm. We're going to steal more bases, a little more small ball. There will be some new kids in the infield, but they have pretty good experience. And we brought them up at the end of the year so they can practice with the team and stuff. We're excited about it.
Fair to say you're going to be more like a younger team than you were in the past?
We'll be a lot younger. We have a lot of juniors and a lot of sophomores, very talented sophomore and junior class. We don't have a lot of seniors, but the ones we have are very good, coming back. So it's a good mix. I think the fun part about coaching high school sports is you don't have a team for 10 years. Every year is different. It has different personality. Look at the basketball team. Yeah. Last year we were dumping the ball into a 6'8" kid. Right. This year we're hanging around the 3-point line, and it's a different team, and you got to coach. Totally. Yeah, you can't just, I need a 7-foot center, and you know what I mean? It's different. So this team will be a little different, and we know that going in, so it'll be fun. It's every year is fun. So
yeah, and I think that not to your horns a little bit, but you guys that coach high school, so much harder because you kind of dealt the hand, right? Yeah. Sometimes you dealt a really good hand, sometimes you dealt the so, but you just got to make the best of it and keep the kid engaged, and like I said, keep the program at a high level. Yeah. So that's very interesting. And if we sit back here at the end of the season, anything less than a state championship disappointment, or how do you?
You know what? I don't really look at it that way. I judge myself as a coach, and as I judge most programs. How are you playing during the season? Are you getting better, or are you peaking in April and you're 6-0, and then you just fade at the end and lose in the first round? I want to be a team that's always on the rise. So I don't. You'll see we play a lot of combinations early in the year. We're not afraid to take a couple losses because that gives other kids opportunities. Then we can see who's going to be really there. On June 10th. In a state championship type game or an FCAC championship game. So we take the first 10 games to give everybody opportunities that are on the team and see what our best combinations are going to be.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, I look at what happened in football this year. The Eagles, right? They're in all the games early on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They won a
perfect example.
6-game losing streak towards the end. I mean, coaches fired, people heads getting cut.
That's not how you want to go. You want to finish on an upswing and playing your best ball at the end. Yeah. Because if you're practicing with these kids and you're coaching them and you're teaching them and they're repping everything out, they should be getting better as the year goes on, right? Right. So that's how we judge ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting. I think it's, from covering the team, we're really just looking forward to doing that. And as we look, the beginning of the season in the FCAC, is it Division II in baseball or Division I?
No, we're Division I. We're double A.
Division double A. So just like so right at the top, right?
We're with the big boys. There's no.
There's no. Yeah, because it's all the teams are kind of different. So I just want to make sure we get that. And
both times we won the state championship, we have finished number one in Connecticut because we're in the biggest class.
It makes a difference. You don't think it does, but it does because you're playing against schools who got a lot more students and you got more talent to pull from.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
And all right, so I want to talk a little, and I want to ask you a question, kind of coming from someone who's young, and you talked about everything you do with the Little League, but what's your advice to a kid that's out there, say, hey, I want to wear that S, I want to play for Staples baseball, because everyone kind of in Little League, it's like everyone wants to pitch, and it's like I personally, of everything, I've coached a lot of sports, but I think the manager in baseball has a hand in the game a lot more than other sports. Yeah. Because you are really doing that. So I think your opinion of what somebody should be doing and how that goes, what would you say?
Well, number one, play all the sports. All the sports. Hero played basketball at King. He was a wide receiver at King. and he played baseball. Now, he had to drill down to specializing in baseball, at 17 years old, but we don't need to be doing that at 7 or 8. You need to play, because every sport you play, every movement you take makes you better in your number one sport, or the sport you think is going to be your best. The other thing is, we had a kid here about 20 years ago, and everybody said he was going to score 3,000 points in basketball, this and that. And he was this kid, Dave Cachetta, and he was a great athlete. And he ended up getting a scholarship to Boston College as a tight end. Ended up being the captain. So his number one sport was basketball. But, it's your body type. It's everything. And then you don't need to pick a sport yet. Play them all and see, it may be tennis, it may be whatever. But, don't limit yourself early. And, because if you're working the same muscles and you're not getting in the pool and you're not shooting baskets, your body's not going to, develop like it should. So
that's a great point. Because,
do everything.
Yeah. I mean, and I've talked about, the guys we had here. Most of them are multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
And Caleb, Udell's, those guys play multiple sports, and you see the success of what they do.
Teaches you how to compete. Like I said, it works other parts of your body. It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Hand-eye contact. You can't beat it.
All right. So I want to ask about last year, and we'll close out with this. If you had to go back and redo one thing different last year, anything?
One thing different?
Or more?
Yeah. No, you know what? I'm not a guy who looks back. I always look forward. I'm always looking forward. You can't, you can win 80% of your games like we do, but it's the 20% that bother you. You know what I mean? So it's baseball. It's a lot of things happen in a game, and you make your decision, and then you hope. When you put 16 and 17-year-old kids out there, they're going to do what they're coached to do, and it doesn't always work out. Kids miss foul shots. Kids miss the bunt sign. It happens.
Yeah.
Kids fumble, but they're kids, so I really don't change anything.
And that's one thing that has really, as I've embarked on this journey of covering high school sport, is the honesty of it all.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like you realize that everyone is really trying to do their best, and mistakes happen at the professional level.
Yeah.
And we forget these are like 16, 15, sometimes year old kids trying here to play a sport at a very high level against very good competition. Yeah. I mean, think about last year, let's say a freshman went over to face Hero.
Yeah.
I mean, how would that?
No chance.
Right, there we go.
No chance. There were teams that were like clapping when one of their kids got a foul ball off them.
Right.
So it was funny.
Yeah, and then another funny story about that same game is like, he was throwing a ball, and then my number one hitter just like wasn't swinging. Yeah. So I turned to him, I said, dude, just like swing. I said, Coach, I can't hear what I can't see.
Exactly.
Right? Because so it's like, but I mean, and I've played I think baseball is probably the hardest sport. Hitting a baseball is insanely hard.
Yeah, you have to constantly work on your skills constantly. It's like every other sport, but once that ball starts moving and has a tilt, it's tough to hit.
Oh, you got less than a second to make a decision. Exactly. Am I going to swing it, this and that, and then so it's been fun. Yep. Coach, thank you so much for being here. Before we let you go, I want to do some quick hits, get the audience to get to know you a little bit. All right. So we're gonna, we can expand on them, be quick, however you like. All right, morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Texting or calling?
Texting.
What is the last series you binge watched?
Last series had to be the Lakers on Netflix.
Yeah. Okay, your favorite type of music or favorite artist?
Probably classic rock.
Beach or sightseeing?
Beach.
What is your hidden talent or skill?
Hidden talent. You know what? I'm pretty good with animals. I have a dog. I do some dog walking. So
how many? You just have one dog?
Yeah, I have a black lab. His name's Murphy. But
how old is Murphy?
He's 7 now.
7. Okay.
I love taking him to the beach, Sasco Beach, and everything else.
Is it your first dog, or is it?
No, I've had a couple, but he's my current guy. With the 5 women in the house, it's nice to have a male dog.
Yeah, just someone you can talk to, right? And walk.
Exactly.
I like that. All right, pizza or ice cream?
Pizza.
Which superpower you wish you had?
Probably to have tomorrow's newspaper in front of me.
It's seen the future, right?
Yeah.
If you could have lunch with any historical figure or anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I have two, probably Joe Namath or Jackie Robinson.
Awesome. And this is a general question. If you could go back and relive one day in your life, relive it or watch it from afar, what would it be?
Probably when my twins were born.
We get that
Back
a
in
lot.
1997. That was a shock.
Right?
It was great, though.
Oh, so you didn't know it was going to be twins?
No, we knew, but I mean,
it's
just
like,
the whole miracle of the whole thing was unbelievable.
yeah, I mean, as parents, we remember that birth like that goes yesterday, right?
Yeah,
It goes by
yeah.
so fast.
Yeah.
I tell everyone enjoy it because that's what it is. Coach, I want to wish you the best of luck this season. I hope to have you here, towards the end of the season, talk a little bit more about how it's going, all that. It's been really fun, and go get them.
All right, thanks, Steve. Looking forward to the season.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
You
Coach.
too. Thanks.